All right, guys, we are live. Wait for a few people to join in here. And in the meantime, we'll just make sure everything is set and ready to go. Let's see here. All righty. I think we are set. What's up, Cat Master? How's it going? Okay, guys, so welcome to the first video of 2017. Happy New Year. Hope you guys are doing well. So the point of this live stream is to just kind of recap over 2016 and kind of talk to you guys about the goals that I have for this year. First, I can honestly say with complete sincerity that the channel, without a doubt, has shown tremendous growth and progress. Okay, I think it was last year, I remember end of December of 2015 that I was around 300 subscribers. And at the beginning of January of 2016, which was last January, I was around 350, 400. So, and now we're pushing 12,000. So that's pretty good. And that's a tremendous growth, in my opinion, with the channel. I know some people grow faster than others, but for me, that went beyond my expectations for sure. So I'm really glad to see the channel moving in the right direction, especially for a catfishing channel. I mean, you don't see a whole lot of catfishing channels out there that really progress and move forward, because it seems like on YouTube, a lot of the fishing channels are dominated by saltwater fishing, bass fishing, and I don't know, quirky type fishing stuff, maybe fishing bloopers or something like that, if you're Bill Dance. No, I'm kidding. Bill Dance actually is a really great fisherman, but he does have a couple of blooper videos out there. I will be doing a brief Q&A towards the end of this live stream. Guys, I don't know if we're going to go quite an hour or not, but do some questions and answering towards the end of this. That way you guys' questions can be answered. So let's just talk about 2016 real quick and kind of just talk to you about how the year went all in all. First off, I broke my personal best last January. It was right around Martin Luther King Day. If you have not seen the 90-pound blue catfish video, go to my channel after this live stream and watch the 90-pound monster blue catfish video, because it was epic. It was my personal best, and it was caught last January. And it's funny because it was actually the first fish I caught of 2016. So what a way to start the year, right? So that was pretty epic. And January was a superb month to fish in 2016. Not only did I catch a 90-pounder, but I took a buddy of mine out. His name is Cameron Gatlin. He's actually my boss's husband, and he's actually a bass fisherman. He fishes from a kayak pretty regularly, and he wanted to get some slime. He wanted to catch a big catfish, and we caught him on a personal best, and it was like 52 or 53 pounds, something like that. So last January was very phenomenal fishing. And then we had a massive flood come in last January towards the end of the month, which we had a flooded winter. And all of February was pretty much very it was really hard to fish the river because there was such a fast current, very high flow. They had the floodgates going below the dams, and it was really hard to do any sort of fishing. There was only maybe a few select spots that you could actually fish without being just carried away downstream. But all of February was really hard to fish. In March, was really the month where I actually did my first collaboration with One Rod and One Reel Fishing and Extreme Philly Fishing, and received a ton of exposure from them two guys. And they're the ones that really kind of got my channel moving forward. Because I think around March of last year, when they came for a collaboration in Chattanooga, I was around, I think, close to 500 subscribers at that point. And I told One Rod, One Reel Fishing that I can get him on a personal best. It was a risk for me to say that to him, but I was pretty certain that I could do it if we really fished hard and like 3 days straight. And he caught a 25-pound blue catfish, which was his personal best. Now, it's not a huge fish, but it's a decent fish for the Tennessee River. And it's a big fish in some different areas of the country, I'm sure. But that was his biggest catfish to date. And Leo caught a 30-pound flathead, Extreme Philly Fishing. I don't know if that was his personal best, but it was certainly close, he said. And so that was great to have them come down and just catch some big fish. And we did some bass fishing as well. And I think One Rod, One Reel broke his personal best. Spotted bass. Leo caught his personal best smallmouth bass. I caught my personal best smallmouth bass around 5 pounds, fishing the wing wall below Chickamauga Dam. But we had a really great time, and Leo, he likes to catch multi-species fish, and he caught a couple new fish on his bucket list there, so that was nice. And I'm trying to get them to come back down sometime in the next couple months because I really want them to experience a bigger fish. But they're the ones that really kind of moved my channel forward. A lot of their subscribers came to my channel and, saw my stuff. Go ahead and comment in the comment box if you were one of the people that actually came from One Rod, One Reel or Extreme Philly Fishing. I'm kind of curious to see how that is. Let's see here. I can see you guys are asking questions. I will get to those here in a second. Just want to go over the recap real quick of 2016. But after Extreme Philly Fishing and One Rod, One Reel, when they left, the river went completely dead, literally. That's when we started to have the drought for most of 2016. It was the worst drought I've ever seen and the worst drought I've actually ever been in for fishing and living in Chattanooga. I came out with a video like a couple months ago just showing you guys the U.S. drought map, and Chattanooga was one of the few cities that was actually the worst, one of the few cities that was actually in the worst drought in the country. There was another city, I think, Southwest California, that was in a really extreme drought, and we were too, Chattanooga, and it just made the fishing really bad. I mean, we were still catching fish, which was good, but as far as the quality of fish was really scarce and really hard to find. So it just made catfishing so much more difficult for me. I had to like really cover a lot of water to find out where can I at least get a 20-pounder, because I just kept catching a lot of dinks, and it was really testing my patience and really testing my fishing skills, sort of say. But it seemed like a lot of the fishing was best at night. From April all the way to like November, it seemed like a lot of it was just a nighttime fishing where a lot of the bigger fish were coming out. But at the same time, I mean, 2016 was a very blissful year, though. Adeline, my youngest daughter, she's about to turn 1 end of this month. She was born in January. Got to spend a lot of time fishing with family in the summertime. Did some fishing with my twin brother Jake, Top Tactic Fishing. He was in my last live stream, so maybe we'll do another one together here soon. We'll see. But overall, guys, it was a really just, I would say, not the best year just for fishing, but we made it work. You know, that's just what you have to do. You just gotta you get the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then there's wildfires too, were like super wicked. Because of the drought we had, the air was so dry. A lot of people were causing wildfires in the Cherokee National Forest and parts of the Blue Ridge Mountains, the Appalachian Mountain Range, and it was like, what the heck? And so a lot of acreage, a lot of acres of forest were just destroyed by mankind, unfortunately to say. So it made just just towards the end of 2016, things were just kind of getting worse and worse, it seemed like. But I will say, though, on a good note, with the fishing, December, I was able to really get some good quality fish in the boat. I was able to stick a 55 pounder. I think it was December 4th. It was raining finally, and it had been raining for like a couple of days. And I've told myself I'm going to get out in the rain and fish, and ended up sticking a 55 pounder, which was really good to see. And I ended up catching a 48 pounder a couple weeks ago in another hole. So the river is definitely starting to pick up. And now that we're getting a lot more rain, more precipitation, and I think there's even snow showers in the forecast at the end of this week. But now that we're kind of in our normal winter pool, sort of say, things should really be picking up more. We have a faster current because, like I said, all summer and most of the fall, we had a very low current, and it was really hard to anchor fish. Even with drift fishing, it was a little bit hard, just because, like I said, the quality fish were so scarce. But anyway, that's just kind of the recap of 2016. I'm really hoping 2017 is better for not only me but for you guys as well. You got to take it like this. When you're fishing, it's like you got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay, I mean, my expectations, usually differ every time I go out. There's times I don't catch any fish and I do get skunked, and it's just part of it. You win some, you lose some. That's just a life lesson right there. But one of the bigger goals I have for 2017 is to fish new areas and try to catch a big fish there. And just for any angler, you finding your own area is, awesome, because you kind of figure it out yourself. You're not just going to people's spots to fish. And, it's like the fact that you kind of did all the work to find that spot, shows that you're more than just a fisherman. You are like a hunter, okay, sort of say, okay, and finding some decent spots. And that's one of the reasons why I like extreme Philly fishing so much, is because Leo is an adventurer. Okay, he's kind of like a pioneer in a sense too. He loves fishing new areas. Does a great job finding new spots. So, I like watching different people on YouTube that are not just all about the fishing, but more about just the adventure and getting out there, finding new areas. And that's tough for me because I'm a father, I'm a husband, and I have kids. It's tough for me to just be going out, and fishing all the time. I would like to, but it's a sacrifice, because then I'm sacrificing time with my family. So I really have to spend the time wisely when I am out on the water, which is why I typically fish my go-to spots. So when I have a few hours of fish, I'm usually going to go to my go-to spots where I think fish are holding. And I know you guys have probably seen some of my videos like, oh my gosh, he's in that spot again. Oh, wow, he's downtown Chattanooga. It's just because like I only have a few hours of fish and I'm trying to, just show you guys, some good quality fish. But I can assure you, though, I am making it a goal this year that I really want to scout new water. I want to fish Gunnersville Lake more. I've hardly touched on Gunnersville. I want to do more fishing at Watts Bar. I want to do more fishing on Chickamauga Lake, because what you guys have seen in most of my videos is like I'm fishing mostly at the lower end of Nickajack, which is right near downtown Chattanooga, and it's because it's closest to me. But I am going to try to branch out and fish new areas. That way you guys can get a different feel for different scenery, sort of say. Another goal I have this year is to do more collaborations. Okay. Now, it's hard for me to just travel all over, but I'm really trying to get more people to come here to Chattanooga, because, I mean, the Tennessee River is a really abundant uh, river of fish. I mean, it's well taken care of. Commercial fishing isn't hit as hard down here as it is in some areas of the country, but I'm trying to get, like I said, I'm trying to get one rod or one reel to come back down. I'm trying to get extreme Philly fishing. A lot of you guys have been wanting me to get with catfish and carp, Luke Nichols, but he's hard to kind of get to come down here. But I will be seeing him at the Catfish Conference at the end of next month in February. If you guys don't know, there's a catfish conference taking place in Louisville, Kentucky. It's free, and it's where a lot of anglers meet, and it's kind of like a 2-day expo type seminar where you have a lot of tournament catfishing anglers, people talking about their catfishing products, and it's just a great way to collaborate, meet new people, learn new stuff, information. So if you have time to go to that, it's end of February. I can't remember the dates, but if you type in on Google or something, catfish conference, you'll be able to find it on the first or second link that pops up on your screen, and then you'll get information that way. Steve Douglas will be there. Chris Flores with Muddy River Catfishing will be there. I'll be there. I think Luke Nichols, Catfish and Carp, will be there. So, I mean, it's just a great way to just meet new people, talk, have a great time, so anyway, but I am going to try to get more I am going to try to get more collaborations out there. So if you guys want to do a collaboration, I don't mind, fishing with you guys, but you may have to come down here, okay? But we can, try to set something up. And another goal I have, and these goals aren't in any specific order. It's just, I'm just now thinking of them. But another goal I have is to take more of my family fishing, which, my wife is not really into fishing a whole lot, but I mean, she does enjoy it when she is out there. But I would like to take more of my wife and my kids fishing, because Kaylee, my oldest daughter, she's 4 now. So she's starting to kind of, learn what fishing is, and it's just a great way for me to spend time with her as well. So I really want to start doing that more, as well as just taking my family out, having a great time. And because those are memories you don't want to, those are memories you want to make, and I would hate to just not take them out. So those are just some of the goals I have for 2017. If there's anything you guys want to see for this year, comment below so I can kind of get an idea. I do some challenges, like catfishing challenges and everything. If you guys want to see more challenges, let me know. I am going to be doing a rocket fishing rod catfish challenge on the river sometime soon. When we have low flow, I'll have to do that challenge, because I can't do that challenge with the high flow we have right now. It's just, you won't be able to keep the bait on the bottom because it has a bobber, and it'd be pretty hard to do, but I have to do it when we don't have as much current. Anyway, okay, let me go ahead and take some questions now. That way we can answer you guys. I'm going to go to the very top, though, so hopefully for those of you who came in very early, hopefully you're still here. Let's see. Gonzo Joe, happy birthday. Hope you're having a good day, man. The Endless Adventure Outdoors, how's it going? It's going pretty good. If you guys don't know, I have to go back to school tomorrow. So actually, teachers, if you don't know, I'm a teacher. I teach high school, and high school government, that is. I had to be back on Monday, the day after New Year's. Teachers had to report back. Isn't that crazy? But the students report back tomorrow. So technically tomorrow is the first day back from Christmas break. But anyway, so I thought it'd be a good time to, spend my time with you guys and, before the day tomorrow. Let's see. Hooked up fishing. Hey, what works best for flatheads? Is a shallow lake? Yeah, I mean, flatheads move in shallow all the time. If you're going to be targeting flatheads, you really want to target structure. They are ambush predators, and they love to sit near log jams, deeper holes, little coves, fallen down trees, brush piles in the water. But they usually kind of cruise on the shallow banks in the evening time. Now, in the wintertime, they're a lot more lethargic and they go into what's called hibernation mode a little bit. But it all is dependent on the water temperature. I'm not a flathead expert or anything, but once the water temperature hits a certain degree, they usually shut off. But once it starts getting warmer, they turn back on. So if you're fishing a shallow lake, I would just try to focus on where most of the structure is holding. And also use live baits too, like live bluegill, live shad, live bullheads. And if the live bait isn't working, then you can go to cut bait. Catmaster, how's it going, buddy? I'm giving you a shout out right now. I think you have a channel too, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if you do or not. Looks like you have a couple of videos out. So yeah, go check out his channel, Catmaster. Let's see. When did I first start YouTube channel? I think it was, let's see, One Raw, One Reel, and Extreme Fillet Fishing came last March. So I think I had the channel going for about 6 months before they came for a collaboration. So I would say the end of 2014 is when I really started to take the channel more seriously. I've always had a YouTube channel, a Gmail account, because if you have a Google account, if you have a Gmail, you pretty much have a YouTube channel. Okay, you may not put videos up, but you have a YouTube account. So, but yeah, it's been like end of 2014 is when I really started focusing on the YouTube channel. Let's see. Catfishing cosmetics. I've not tried the bait yet that you sent me, but I will. Don't worry. Why is it so hard to find a good circle hook? I don't know if it's really terribly difficult, Brian. It really depends on what you're looking for with the circle hook. Give you a few suggestions as far as brands: Team Catfish, Daiichi, which are pretty much the same thing. Gamakatsu, Eagle Claw is not bad. Mustad is pretty good. So circle hooks are great hooks to use because you don't really have to set the hook. The hook kind of sets itself. So, and you guys will see me in my videos. Usually I'm reeling down on the fish while the rod is in the rod holder. And that's a good thing because I'm using circle hooks. And all you got to do is just reel down on the fish. You don't have to actually set the hook. You just reel down on them. And then I'll get the rod out of the rod holder. And then I'll start, pumping the rod and everything, reeling down. So Brian, I use Team Catfish hooks. That's just what I'm used to. They kind of have an offset barb a little bit, which is good which is good because it helps the hook settle more in the corner of the mouth. So anyway, hopefully that gives you some good input there. Hooked up fishing. Thanks, you and a few others inspired me to start YouTube. I'm glad to inspire you, man. That's awesome. So good deal. How do you catch flatheads and channels in a lake this time of the year? Like I said, with flatheads, it can be a little difficult because the wintertime can be tricky. It's all about what the water temperature is. And I think it's once the water temperature, I don't know what it is, because I typically don't target flatheads in the wintertime. I usually just target blue catfish. But once the water temp hits a certain degree, I don't know if it's like the low 60s or if it's like the high 50s. I think there's a range. I think it's like, if it's like 57 to 62 degrees, that's I think if it gets lower than like 57 degrees or even maybe 55, they start to get more lethargic and they kind of just settle more. Um, and it's harder to get them. But when it's higher than 55 degrees, I think you can still get them. But I mean, I know a couple buddies right now that caught some good flatheads this past weekend here on Waspar Lake. And the water temperature, he said it was like 57, 58 degrees. So use live baits, try cut bait. Okay, flatheads just don't eat live bait. They'll eat cut bait as well. I've caught most of my flatheads on cut bait, believe it or not. We caught a 45-pound flathead back in 2015. Actually, Crystal, my wife, she's the one that really caught it. And she was actually pregnant at the time, but we caught a 45-pound flathead on cut skipjack. So channel catfish, you know, they're abundant still. And let me just say this though, that like whenever you're fishing in a river, a lake, okay, for catfish in the wintertime, it's going to be pretty slow because it's getting colder, you know, and you can still catch catfish, but just understand that like just take your patience pills because usually it's quality over quantity for that time of the year. Usually the fish are pretty good quality size fish, but the quantity just may not be as much. You used to catching like 10 catfish, and then when the wintertime hits, you may only catch like 3 or 4. So, but channel catfish, use cut bait, use night crawlers. You're going to be targeting channels. I target them any catfish, you know, fish under bridges, fish near structure. If you're fishing from the bank, it's kind of really hard to get a gauge on where you're fishing unless you're kind of shooting at a, you know, you're kind of blindfolded, kind of shooting at a target where you don't know where it is. So you have to really try to get a good feel on what your lake is like in regards to holes and structure and so forth. Carter, you came from One Rod. That's awesome. Corey, you came from Extreme Philly. It's awesome. Thanks, Country Bassin. Appreciate it. Can you try to catch them on ice rods? Yeah, that'd be a good little challenge. I did a ice fishing rod challenge in the summertime and caught a nice blue cat on it. I think it was like 5 pounds, but I mean it was still fun. But can you catch catfish ice fishing? I think you can. I've actually never ice fished before. I mean, I'm in Tennessee, so we don't have ice that really covers the lakes or rivers here. I mean, you'd have to be way up north in order for that to happen. But, you know, I would assume you can catch some blues and channel cats. If any of you guys know, maybe you guys could comment. I'm not exactly sure on that one. I do hunting vids. I don't hunt, actually. Wouldn't be opposed to, though. It's just a matter of time and getting with the right people that can show me how to hunt. Yeah, I can do different fishing vids. I now understand Country Bassin's is asking this. Will I do different fishing videos? I can, but this channel is mostly a catfishing channel, but I do like to switch it up. And like I love catching bass. Okay, I'm not one of those fishermen where it's like, oh, I only love catfish and bass fishing sucks. I hate the bass fishermen. I'm not like that at all. Okay. I enjoy catching every type of fish out there. Okay. But my forte and more of my passion is more leaning towards catfish because I love how big they can get. And I love just catching a tank of a fish. Okay, but I do enjoy catching bass. I do enjoy catching bluegill. I love catching shellcracker. Okay, crappie fishing. I don't do a whole lot of crappie fishing. I like to get more into crappie fishing, especially this time of the year. The crappie fishing gets really good. But yeah, I'd love to do more kind of multi-species for sure. So I can definitely focus on that more this year. Best catfish lure, Big Mike. Is that Syrup 21? Hope I'm saying that right. Best catfish lure? I don't know. That's a good question. I know a lot of flatheads will hit like crappie jigs in the spring and summertime. And I don't know if there's a best catfish lure, but I will say that blue cats, channels, and flatheads will hit lures. It just depends on the mood they're in. But typically, flatheads are more. You're more. It's more common to catch a flathead. Three catfish I just named. So out of the blue, flathead, and channel, flatheads are most likely to hit lures, especially crappie jigs. Let's see. Country Bassin shout out. I'm giving you a shout out right now, buddy. Joe, have I used anchovies or mackerel? I have not. I've never used that before. Country Bassin, I'll try to do a hunting video. Okay, I'll try to. Let's see. Catfish and Cosmetics, if you can somehow come up to Chattanooga, Tennessee, we can do a collaboration for sure. The Bass Nut, we got big cats on Fort Loudon in Knoxville. Let's go. Yeah, I've been up to Fort Loudon before. I think I have a video out where I was below Fort Loudon Dam fishing with my good buddy Ty Conkle, fvcatfish.com, and we caught a couple nice flatheads on that wing wall there. Caught my biggest striper there too. It wasn't too big. It was maybe like 10 pounds, but I mean that was a good solid striper. And I fished a little bit downstream from Fort Loudon, which I think downstream from Fort Loudon Dam is Watts Bar Lake, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, they got some. I really feel like the catfishing up there is more abundant in quality of fish, and I think it's because there's no commercial fishing up there. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bass Nut, if you're still watching, or if anyone knows. I think commercial fishing is banned, or Watts Bar Lake. I think commercial fishing is banned. But here on Nickajack and Chickamauga, commercial fishing's legal, I think. So, but I've noticed people just with the reports they have and share on Facebook and other forums that it seems like the quality of fish up there is more abundant than it is down here. So interesting. Whoa, I'm trying to follow the comments right in order. Let's see here. Country Bass, I have a G3 Gator boat DLX. I think it's 1456. I just got it last May. So it's a 17-foot John boat. It's all aluminum, all welded as well. So it's a really great boat. I love it a lot more than my other one. Joe Garcia, my wife calls me murder. What's a good boat for a reasonable price? I would just look on Craigslist Catfish Bill and just look at like small aluminum John boats. Typically, you can get those from $5,000 and under. But those are reasonably priced. The good thing about aluminum boats is that they're very lightweight. Okay. I'm not really big into fiberglass as far as boats. I like lightweight boats, and aluminum are kind of indestructible in a way too. In a way, they are. But I don't know. I would think if you can get a boat for under $5,000, that'd be good for you. Let's see. Cat Master, I'm giving you a shout out again. Evan's like, I'm not ready for school. I'm getting there. I'll be ready when the bell rings tomorrow, I guess. Let's see. I played Joe. I played percussion in high school. I played bass drum my freshman year, and then I was in the snare drum line my sophomore, junior, and senior years. It's awesome. More bait fishing videos. Yeah, I could do that for sure. The skipjack will be running below Chickamauga Dam in March. I knew that because I got to load up on skipjack. I'm like out. But don't ever undermine using bluegill as bait. Okay, I caught my personal best blue catfish on a bluegill, on cut bluegill. So I actually went fishing on New Year's Eve with two buddies of mine, and we were really goofy that day. It's a trip we do every year, and they're like catfishing goons, really. And we were just kind of messing around, just having a great time, and like I said, it's a trip we do every year. We get together specifically once a year, and it's usually around New Year's. So we happen to do it on New Year's Eve. And we were using cut bluegill, and we caught like 10 fish, and all of them came on cut bluegill, besides 2 catfish came on cut skipjack. And bluegill does better in the wintertime because the skipjack are not as thick in that body of water as they used to be. So like usually in the spring and summer and fall months, skipjack is pretty abundant in my neck of the woods. But when the wintertime happens, they all move out and they usually go to find steam plants, warmer water where there's like, a discharge of some sort. A bluegill seems to be like the magic bait to catch a really good quality fish. So don't ever undermine using bluegill. They're a really good bait. What's the best way to catch small catfish for aquarium? Just use smaller baits. That's what I would do. I have 2 small flatheads. I have a flathead in the aquarium behind me, okay, and I have a flathead in the aquarium downstairs in the basement. This one's getting a little bit big, but he's not ready to be released just yet. But the one downstairs is a lot smaller. I'll have to show you guys that sometime in a separate video. I have a couple of videos out where I've showed you my flatheads. But just use small night crawlers or smaller baits of small cut bait, and you should be able to hopefully get one for your aquarium. What could I use for catfish instead of skipjack? Cat mesh, that's what I was saying. I would use bluegill, cut bluegill, especially in the wintertime, man. Let's see. You say gold eye? You're talking about moon eye? I think I know what you're talking about. Those will work as well. We don't have those in our particular body of water. I don't think moon eye, but yeah, you can use that. Steve Douglas has done that before, and he did a really great episode on catching catfish with it. So, Jimmy King, you would like a collaboration with Luke from Cats and Carp? Yep, me too. It'd be great to get with him and do a collaboration for sure. Guys, I've never caught a common carp before. I've caught a grass carp, but I've never caught a common carp. I know, shame on me, right? So that may be a good collaboration for him to get me on a good size carp. A snail snot helps even more, setting the circle hook. I don't use snail knots at all, actually, catfishing cosmetics. I heard it's a lot easier to tie. I typically use polymer knots. I use a polymer knot going to the hook, and then I use improved clinch knot to my barrel swivels and everything. What is the limit on skipjack, Brian? The limit on skipjack in Tennessee is 100 a day. Patience supposed equals Xanax. Yeah, really. Brian, I answered your question just now. The limit on skipjack is 100. How deep should I make my cold spring pond minimum? I don't know. That's a great question. I'm not an expert on ponds or anything, but I mean, 10 feet would probably be the deepest you could have for a pond. You don't, if you're making your own pond like in your yard, just research how to start up a pond. There's a lot of info out there for sure. But I know my in-laws, they have like 5 ponds, and I think the deepest one only goes down to like 10 feet. But typically most of them are like 3 to 4 feet deep. So say hello to your new subscriber. Hello, great. Thanks for subscribing. Let's see. My favorite dog? That's an interesting question. I don't know, to be honest. I had to think about that one. We don't have any pets. Well, the only pets we do have is the fish in the aquariums, like I said. But my wife is allergic to dogs and cats. But Titan Lear, that's a great question. I'd have to really think about that. Um, I'll get back to you on that. I had to think about that one for a while. But I will say, growing up, we had a dog that was a Yorkshire Terrier, and great dog. Not the friendliest dog with the neighbors, but I'd just say, as far as a favorite dog, I would want a dog that's very loyal. Okay, qualities. I want a dog that is loyal, and friendly, of course. But as far as the breed and everything, I have to think about that one. Favorite setup for my rods, Carolina rig, all of them. Least favorite fish to catch. That's a great question. Least favorite fish. That's a good question. I'm not really into drum a whole lot. I mean, I think drum are fun to catch on light tackle, but when I catch them on heavier tackle, I'm just like, oh, geez. I don't know if I have a least favorite fish though. I mean, because each fish kind of has its own uniqueness, sort of say. They kind of have their own little fight to them, So I don't know if I have a least favorite fish. But if I had to choose, it may be the drum or something. They fight like the devil at first, but then they quickly give up. Catfish can do that too, actually. So. All right, just want to make sure if I'm behind on the questions, guys, I'm sorry, but I'm just, trying to get to all of you guys. Catfish Cosmic, you never had luck with cup bait? Trust me, you will one day. I would focus more on location than anything else. Okay, but it works like a charm once you get on one. Besides Steve Douglas, who else has the best catfishing YouTube channel? I don't know. Like, see, the thing is, Steve Douglas is more like, I feel like, the teacher. He's kind of like the grandfather of catfishing. He may get mad at me for saying that, but he's like the legend, really. He's the one that's kind of showed everybody how to catch catfish, mostly from a boat, because most of his videos are from a boat when you watch his videos. So a lot of the stuff he tells you, the tips and techniques, are mostly from how do you catch catfish from a boat, using electronics, sonar equipment, all that stuff. And then he also shows you the baits he's using, the rigs he's using. And he also does a great job educating us on how to safely release big fish back in the water, catch, photo, release, CPR, resuscitating fish. Because with big fish, you really want to be releasing them back into the water, because those are your breeders. And so he does a great job just conserving the catfish as well. So he does a great job really kind of giving you the whole big picture, the whole 9 yards, I guess you can say. Muddy River catfishing, I feel like, has a very unique way of doing things. He's kind of fishing in a smaller river, in a sense. So where Steve Douglas usually fishes a lot of bigger rivers like the Mississippi, the Ohio, the Tennessee River, where Steve Douglas, I'm not sure which river he's fishing. If it's the Rio Grande is actually a pretty big river, but it's very narrow, if I'm not mistaken. But it looks like in a lot of his videos that he's fishing usually in smaller rivers. But he doesn't have all the equipment. He doesn't have a big boat or anything. It's just him, and he's like in a small 14-foot boat and everything, and he just loves it out there. So for him, it's just different. You get a different feel when you're watching different catfishing channels. Luke, with Catfish and Carp, he really does a great job breaking it down. A lot of his videos are from the bank and from the boat. And he is like your family guy because he takes out his boy Tommy fishing, and it's usually a father-son type video you're watching. So you kind of get a different perspective there too. So I don't know if I would say there's a big catfishing YouTube channel out there. I would just say we all kind of have our own philosophy, our own kind of, you know, mission we're trying to do when we do the YouTube videos. I know for me, that's something I'm still trying to work on. What is the Chatt Cats fishing philosophy? And for the longest time, I kind of held this motto: fish to learn, fish for life. I know that sounds corny, but for me, fishing is learning. Like, catch fish, everybody does. But you really want to be learning while you're out there, even if you don't catch anything. What did you learn from that experience? And that's just me. You really want, and this is me being a teacher, okay, because I am a teacher. But you really want to be a lifelong learner as you fish, okay? Just like teachers told you in school to be a lifelong learner as a student. Well, it's the same way with fishing. Like, you want to learn as you go out there. If you did catch something, what did you do? What worked? What didn't work? So you're kind of like a little scientist in a way. You're making guesses, educated guesses. You're really breaking things down, and trying to figure out, what you can do better for next time. So that's a good thing about fishing. It's a stress reliever for me. I don't really feel any pressure at all. I have a couple times, and maybe to get a video up, but for the most part, it's really just, living in the moment, okay, and just being thankful for the things that we all do have. Like, I'm really thankful for you guys. I'm not trying to get so, sentimental or anything, but like, seriously, like, with this channel, who would have thought that I would have been, having a huge following? Like, what started out as just like pure entertainment is now, like, I feel like I'm actually reaching out to a few of you guys out there. So I mean, so that really changes me too. So I really appreciate all the support you guys have given me out there for sure. How do you catch carp, Emmanuel? You got to chum. Okay, you got to chum the area. Use bread, corn. Okay, I'm no carp expert. You really want to follow Luke Nichols from Catfish and Carp. Well, you got to chum the area, kind of earn their trust, sort of say. Carp are very finicky fish. They get easily spooked. So you got to chum the area for a couple days, and then fish that exact spot with whatever bait you chummed out there, and should be good to go. Chasing the outdoors, Chase. Yeah, man. It'd be great to do a hunting video for sure. RJ, what's up, man? Can you show us your knots? I have a couple of videos out, catfishing cosmetics, on that. Look on my catfish tackle talk playlist. I have a few knots on there that you can look at. Have you ever caught a 50-pounder while drunk? No, I have not. Actually, guys, I don't drink. So, but I have caught a 50-pounder. Let's see, what is your state's record catfish? I think it's 114 pounds. Let's see. I've never noodled before, actually. I would like to noodle sometime. That would be a really good episode. Wouldn't it be funny if I actually wore a wrestling singlet? Because if you guys don't know, I'm a wrestling coach. I coach high school wrestling, and we are in the grind right now of wrestling season. But wouldn't it be interesting for next summer if I wore a wrestling singlet, had my headgear on, and I actually wrestled a catfish, like noodled a catfish? That would be a really good video. It'd be a little nerve-wracking too, to be honest with you, but a thumbs up if you want to see something like that, because I've been thinking about that, and that would actually be pretty cool to do in the future, especially early next summer when the catfish are on the spawn. Let's see. Titan Leader, I'm giving you a shout out. What kind of rods do I have? I have B&M Silver Cat Magnum rods, and I have American Spirit nightsticks. Nope, Phenom, I've never pooped off the side of the boat, but I have had to go while I've been on the boat. Planer boards before. I'm not really big in the planer boards. You have to be drift fishing to use that successfully. But I have used them once with a buddy of mine, and they seem to work pretty good. I guess I just gotta do it more to kind of get comfortable with the idea of it more. So, circle hooks. I typically use 8/0 double action circle hooks by Team Catfish. Sometimes I'll go down to 5/0, but typically I use 8/0. Best combo for catfish is a Carolina rig. I'm not sure what you mean by best combo. If you're talking about rod and reel, I mean, ugly sticks work really good. You know, you can get the catfish ugly stick combo. Pretty affordable too. Catfish Bill Steve is pretty good at drift fishing. He's actually really good at it. He does really good suspend drifting and dragging baits on the bottom. And yeah, now he is using planer boards. I have caught fish and kept it as a pet. The flatheads I've been talking about, I caught those. Is Steve in the Tennessee River? Steve actually lives in Kentucky, I think, or he's from Kentucky, and he fishes the Tennessee River quite a bit, and the Ohio River and Kentucky Lake. Wow, biggest crappie, 2.3 pounds. That's freaking huge. What is yours? I think the biggest crappie I caught was maybe like close to a pound, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Not terribly big, but still a good one. Chicken good to use as bait for channel catfish, for sure. Problem is just make sure you can keep the chicken liver on the hook. How can you grow your channel? Just keep posting videos. That's the big thing. If you're wanting to get a YouTube channel, just post videos. And once you kind of have a routine of getting videos published, try to do a collaboration with somebody because they can give you a lot of exposure. Steve is in Ohio? Okay, well, maybe he is in Ohio. I don't know. I thought he was from Kentucky. I did a collaboration with Steve Douglas back in May, actually. We did a little fishing episode near Raccoon Mountain. Really great time. Where are some good bank fishing for cats in Chattanooga? Downtown Chattanooga is really good because there's a lot of bridge pilings down there. The big thing about, I mean, fishing from the bank can be very, very successful at certain times. I would target bridges and also ripraps, you know, gravel ripraps. Usually the catfish will hang in there at certain times of the year. Jude, I'll miss you too this semester, buddy. Hope you have a great spring semester. Country bass, and I just went over my goals at the earlier in this live stream, so maybe you can go back and watch that. Why don't I do more drifting? It's a great question, Phenom. I don't do a whole lot of drift fishing because you know, number one, I don't have my boat situated for drift fishing as much. I do sometimes use like 1 or 2 rods to drift fish, but it's just not my forte, and it's something I got to get better at doing. So I guess that would be a goal to work on this year, is to do more drift fishing, because the pro of drift fishing is you can cover a lot more water. But it's just something I'm not really quite used to, just being honest with you. So, but I have done it before. Typically when I've done it, I've actually bottom bounced. Okay, I'll have like a 3-way rig and I'll just bottom bounce on the bottom. And I've caught a few decent fish doing that. I've never used cuts. No, I take that back. I have used cut sucker as bait, but not carp. Do I do charters in Chattanooga? I do not, but there's 2 companies you can check out. It is Scenic City Fishing Charters and fvcatfish.com. What size weights do I use when I'm anchored? Really depends on the current, but typically 6 ounces. All right, guys, I'm going to take a couple more questions because I think I've reached the end of the questions. But I'll take a few more, and then we're going to end this live stream. Let's see here. I'm trying to make sure I get everyone's question. Do I watch UFC? Sometimes I do. We don't have cable here at the house, but usually I follow UFC online now. So, but yeah, Ronda Rousey got annihilated in her last fight. So that was interesting to see for sure. Let's see. The Bass Nut, like I said, if you want to do a collaboration, just reach out. Have I ever fished in Kansas? I have not. Can I fish in Milford Lake? Like I said, if I'm ever in Kansas, I'll definitely be sure to try to fish while I'm over there. Usually when I travel, okay, just so you guys know about me, usually when I travel, I always try to make time to fish at least once when I'm there. So I've been in Ohio a lot. Usually I have family up there, so I'll do some fishing up there on the Great Miami River and on the Ohio River. And I got my twin brother Jake. He lives in Philadelphia. If I'm ever out there, I'll be sure to fish the Schuylkill River again. Weights, you can buy them on 2 different websites. Catfishconnection.com and Bottom Dwellers Tackle sells them, or you can go to eBay. Type in sinkers, fishing sinkers, and you should be able to get a list of different ones to look at. Where do I reach you? You can message me on YouTube, send me an email. I have Instagram. You can contact me there. On a good day of catfishing, how many catfish have I caught in one day? I think the most I've caught has been like close to 15. A good day of fishing, though, for me is really getting more than, I mean, it's all about the size, though, too. If I catch like 3 fish over 20 pounds, that's a really good day for me. But if I catch like 1 fish that's like 70 pounds, that's a really good day for me. So it really just depends on the quality of the fish I'm catching. PB bullhead. Ooh, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I haven't really caught many bullheads. I would say probably a pound or something. Uber chat. I am from Hamilton, Ohio, specifically. Right. Any tips for snags? Don't get in them. No, I'm kidding. Best way to get out of a snag is it depends if you're in a lot of current. Just let your line out and, try to reel back in, try to just pop it up if you can, try to work different angles. Just try to do the best you can. I know from a boat, they're a lot easier to get out because you can really work different angles of where the snag is. I should try carp fishing. Yes, you're right. I should. Do I know any good spots on the Chick? Yeah, I would try the Sequoia nuclear discharge. That's a hot spot for catfishing, especially in the spring. You can also try the intake. That's a really good spot. And really, any of the bluffs that you see on the lake are very good spots for catfishing. So I haven't done a whole lot of fishing at the Chickamauga Lake, but definitely try Sequoia nuclear discharge. Biggest channel cat I've caught has been like 12 to 13 pounds. How cold outside air temperature before you will not go fishing? I think the coldest I fished was like 23 degrees. But if it's usually less than 20, I typically don't go. It's just me personally. Usually in the wintertime, I usually go in the afternoon. Because typically it gets a little warmer in the afternoon, and but I will man up. Okay, sometimes it depends on how desperate I am to get a really good fish. If I'm going through a big fish drought, I'll get out at anything. Okay, so can you fish with blacktip H? I'd like to sometime. He's a really busy guy. I actually tried to get him up here in Chattanooga to do a monster catfish trip for like 1 week, and he sounded like he wanted to come this winter, but I guess he ended up taking a trip up to Canada, Milwaukee to do some trout fishing. So maybe sometime in the near future he'll be able to come up. Best cut bait for cats, in my personal opinion, it is cut skipjack and cut bluegill. 30 to 50 foot bluffs, that's exactly right, Bassinet. Yep. There's some deep water near those bluffs. What's a good cheap catfish combo? Ugly sticks. Can you use creek chubs for bait? Absolutely. All right, guys, I'm going to take 2 more questions, okay? So the next 2 questions I see, I'm going to take those, and then I'm going to end this live stream because it's already past 10 o'clock. Folder on the back of your boat, fold away. Actually, it's a really good question, okay? I've had a lot of questions on this. The rod holder actually came with the boat when I bought it from a friend of mine, and it's actually a striper rod holder. He said it was used for stripers, and there is a phone number on the rod holder. Actually, it's like 1-800-TROLL-AWAY or something like that, and there's a website as well, but it's a fold. They call it a fold and troll. Weird, I know, but because it does fold, but you can move the rod holders at any angle you want in the boat. But I just kind of put bungee cords at the very end, and then just kind of tied them down to my boat because I usually just use it. But I don't have a specific brand on it, but I'm sure if you type in on like Google fold and troll rod holders, you should be able to kind of see an image of what that looks like. That's a great question too. Mason Cherry, I'm not gay. I am married. I have a hot wife and I have 2 kids. Let's see. Can you fish dirty water? Yeah, you can fish dirty water. Catfish love dirty, murky water. When it's very murky, they love that. Recommend for pond catfish? I've had this question before. You can try crickets, you can try corn, night crawlers, and don't be afraid to try cut bluegill. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and close this live stream. Okay, Happy New Year to all of you guys out there. I will be having a video coming out this Thursday at 7:30, and it's the last fishing trip of 2016, fishing on New Year's Eve with a couple of buddies. It's a goofy type video, but I'm probably going to call it like with catfishing goons or something like that because there's a lot of hilarious stuff in there, but we caught some really good fish, so expect that for Thursday at 7:30. Guys, thanks for joining in on this live stream, and we will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching.